Well, it's time again for one of my gun show panic buying reports that I usually do. I do kind of keep up with trends with either collectible firearms or firearms in general. As we all know, the 8 years when we had President Obama was a three-ring circus. Each and every year, more and more firearms were sold, and they go by the amount of background checks that the government processes as to firearm sales as an indicator, and that's what they used. And each year was a record year, one right after the other. And now with these recent shootings again, and the outcry on TV, demonstrations, and this renewed intensity on changing gun laws, um, we look at the gun shows again. Now, how it worked in the past when the Democrats were in power, and this is what's really interesting. An AR-15 retailed for say $650 to $700 back then, years ago, and they had one of the tragic shootings, and the gun show was a few weeks later, and the dealers just started putting price tags of 1,300. One guy, seeing that everyone was buying them instead of 700 paying $1,300, he put $1,600, and it's just a plain AR-15 and a 5.65, just your basic generic gun. And the guys were laughing. Everybody sold out, and for like months afterwards, several small local shows, any type of assault rifle and handguns were selling out. Ammunition, again, people would buy cases of it. Then you'd see people with like luggage carts wheeling it around trying to sell cases of it. Um, Ammunition prices skyrocketed. It was a zoo. And that's when I started doing these reports. And what it all kind of boils down to is greed, and people, opportunist is a term you use, are just trying to exploit the panic and the social this social disorder that we have here about guns and gun control for profit, whether they be dealers or just people on the side. Because there were people that would go down to Gander Mountain, the local Gander Mountain store. They took like $5,000, $10,000 out of the bank and just go down there with shopping carts and buy all the ammunition. And they'd say they bought a box of shells for $10. They go around to the flea markets or around and sell them for 20, double up their money. And they said one guy went and did this 2 or 3 times, take him a month. And now the stores had policies. Some stores would only allow you to buy 1 or 2 boxes of shells at a time when they were in stock and everything else. And a lot of this insanity went. And people would buy ammunition. I used to go to the flea market and sell reloads and everything, figuring I could sell it for less. And people would buy it and say that they tried it. I said, "Oh, did you shoot a box?" The guy bought 2 boxes of 9mm ammo from me. Well, I shot 2 rounds out of my gun. Your ammo's good, it works. What do you mean 2 rounds? And then they put it away. And then I heard people telling me, "Well, I got rifle ammo here, pistol ammo there, all these different calibers, thousands around." Will you compete? Do you shoot? What are you doing with it? I guess they were buying it up, think it's a form of currency or something. Once they outlawed it, I don't know. But now we're 1 year already that we've got the new president. The Republicans are in power, and all of this stuff just stopped. Dead immediately after the elections, it all stopped. AR-15 components and guns have dropped down to where retail, I think it's $3.99. You can get a generic AR-15 rifle, and the components where bulk carrier groups used to be $100, $120. You can get them for $70, $78, $80 now. So building a gun isn't that expensive as it used to be, or difficult. And the market's flooded. If you go and look like at Arms List, locally here in Greensboro, if you look under rifles, there's got to be 40 people trying to sell some version of an AR-15, be it a brand name or whatever, and asking $1,000 for them, which the market's flooded. Ammunition, I must get 3 or 4 emails a week from all the online wholesalers or sellers because I've bought ammunition here and there, and just every week they have a sale. This is on sale. This is on sale. So they stop buying ammo. Now the gun shows, I stopped setting up at them because mostly people were buying either assault rifles and cases, cheap ammo, and 22s. You can get 22s now. For a while, you couldn't find a 22 long rifle cartridge to save your life. Now it's all kind of settled down and caught up. I did set up and go to a local gun show in Greensboro in January, and actually did quite well. Sold some surplus guns, sold some of my reloaded ammunition for the older obsolete guns, and I sold some excess reloading tools and just odds and ends. Gun parts were laying around in a garage, and I did fairly well. I sold quite a few items, so everybody was pleased, and everybody at the show did well, even though it was much smaller. Not that many dealers take the time to come there, pay their employees, set up numerous tables, with their inventory, and not make a profit. So that's what kind of killed a lot of the larger dealers. A lot of the local collectors like me and some other people that trade in the old military surplus guns, and some of the local dealers are loyal and they're always there. Been there for years, always set up a table for different shops locally, and they were still there. But a lot of stuff that they say no non-related gun stuff, but there were guys down there selling coins. He didn't do too well in silver. There were a lot of beef jerky and food items, snacks you see at the gun show now, which you didn't see before. And so it was, I said, maybe things are getting better. Everybody did well, things were moving well. And then I went to a few other gun shows recently. I just went there trying to sell like one item. I have an old rifle or something. And it was kind of slow and dead, especially after this last big shooting. They had one up in Winston, and you can see everybody was ready. And I run into a friend of mine, and he goes to all of them, a dealer, and I said, well, what's going on? Is it panic time? Years ago, whenever there was anything on TV, you couldn't get into the parking lot. It's a small show. It's not a huge gun show. It's a small one. You couldn't find a parking spot. There were lines, 200 yards, people waiting to get in, to go in there and that. And now you go there, you park close to the front of the building, there's hardly anyone there, and like he told me, same old people selling the same old junk, same guys. He goes, I thought there'd be a panic and a rush, and you see the people coming in, everybody has an assault rifle, an AK-47, with $1,000 price tags on them, SKSs, anything that had a clip stuck in there, there was people trying to sell it. Nobody's buying. Actually, very flat show. I found a couple surplus handguns I liked and bought them, but not a lot of activity going on. It was pretty mediocre. And another indicator is, online auctions. I could use this as a whole other topic for a video, how real the prices are on there, which you can't go by what you see there, because online auctions, you don't know how much of it's fake bidding or whatever. That's a whole other different subject. But when you see a lot of odd collectible guns come up, that means that people are in need of money and they're selling off parts of their collection. Who knows why, the reason, but some people do, because you'll see like a guy says, well, I need a down payment for a car, so I'm selling these guns or whatever. And when you start seeing a lot of real hard to find, odd stuff come up, that means there's kind of a cash flow in general going on. People need money. And usually when you see the interest rates going up, you'll see more pricier stuff become available. I kind of use that as a thing. I've had the opportunity to buy some odd and unusual guns. I'll review them as we go, but yep, when I went there was the beginning of this month, in March. I went to the gun show. The panic, long lines, people going nuts, wasn't there. People were trying to sell their assault weapons at a high price. Didn't happen. There was no buying frenzy. And basically, what I see is a lot of your lower cost handguns, basically your polymer striker fire guns, and everyone makes them. Ruger, the Tauruses, and that stuff that is, say, 350 and under in that price range. Just pocket pistols, 380s, compact 9s, shotguns, and buckshot. Basically, home defense guns is what most of the major dealers, when I go to the gun show, have, and that's what most people are buying. Is some sort of a defense handgun that isn't quite expensive. Of course, there are people that do buy brand name guns in that, but the majority of the sales are your lower cost, basic, small, concealable guns, be it 380s, 38 snub noses. Taurus makes a whole variety of them. They're popular. Everyone makes a little 380 pocket pistol. Ruger, there's several manufacturers. Ruger also makes compact 9s, which are priced down very close to Tauruses and a lot of the rest of them. So those are always a popular seller. And like I said, shotguns and buckshot and pistol ammo. That's what you see most of the dealers bring, and that's what they sell. Not so much your military surplus. Maybe you'll see one or two dealers bring. That's where I got my Star BM. The guy had a bunch of them there, that local dealer. But you really don't see a lot of people selling the surplus like you do online, because most people either get their transfer dealer or, depending on what type of gun you're buying, Curio and Relic license handles it, and a lot of guys that collect surplus buy their guns that way. So that's my thing on the gun shows and the panic buying. It doesn't seem to be happening now. So that's a thing of the past. Supplies of ammo and guns are plentiful. They're easy to find, and the prices are low on them. Everyone's having sales on them because the huge sales have tapered off. So that's my gun show report for this time here, Easter Sunday, 2018.